make sure I get copies of Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the regular meeting of the Guam Education Board for February 24, 2016. Before we begin, I would like to attest to the fact that our meeting was duly announced in the required media and circulation on February the 15th with our full agenda, and again on February 12th with our full agenda. So we are in compliance with the Open Government Law and the Sunshine Act, and we're very happy to have properly given due notice of our meeting today. Also on our agenda first, as we always do, we're going to check to determine if we have a quorum. We have some members who will be joining us on Zoom, and we have members also who are present in person today. I'd like to welcome everyone who is here for coming and taking the time to join our meeting today. Dr. Wampat, our superintendent, will now determine if we have a quorum through our attendance. Dr. Wampat.
Thank you. Ada Peter.
Present in Zoom.
Felicitas Angel. Valetu Christine. Gutierrez Maria. McNitch Ron.
Here.
Sablan Angel. Torres Carl.
Here.
Okada Mary. Here. Guthers Judith.
Present.
Madam Chair, we do have a quorum.
Thank you, Madam Superintendent. I'm very happy that we have a full quorum today, and we have members who are with us, who may be off island, but we're happy they have joined us through Zoom. On our next item, we always try to recognize our DOE family, including our students, our faculty, our staff, for the outstanding contributions to our school system. And today I'm happy to announce that we have with us Robin Lynn Sanchez, and we're going to be presenting a certificate of recognition to Robin on getting selected as a Big Future Ambassador for the 2026 spring cohort by the College Board. This is a very prestigious and prominent award, and we're very honored to have Robin with us. Robin, please join us up front. And we'll also have Robin for a photograph, if I'm correct, Mr. Barha. And then we're going to ask Robin to say a few words on how she feels about receiving this award. Robin, welcome. Thank you for joining us today. Very happy you're here. So on behalf of the Guam Board of Education and our school system, we want to recognize you for this wonderful achievement. Being part of the College Board spring cohort is really amazing for us here on Guam. And we want to present you with this wonderful recognition certificate from the school board and our school system. And we'd like you to say a few words first. Tell us about this experience.
Can you hear my microphone?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Thank you. Well, becoming a Big Future ambassador was quite simple, and I just had to apply. But it meant more to me that I am able to now share with the students of Guam what they can also do here on the island. It means a lot to me that they also know that there are so many more opportunities beyond just this small island in the middle of the ocean.
And tell us, Robin, what year are you now in high school?
I'm a senior.
You're a senior, going to graduate soon.
Yes.
And what are your plans when you graduate?
I actually just got accepted into Temple University in Japan, so
That's excellent.
I plan to go there.
So, ladies and gentlemen, our students do wonderful things. And we're very proud of them. This is an example of the achievements. And this would not be possible without the dedication of our teachers, with working with our students and our staff and our DOE family. So I want to thank our DOE family for helping us develop students like Robin, and we will continue doing that, working together as a team. Thank you. Robin? Let's get a nice picture of them. Dr. Okada, Mary, Gutierrez, everybody. Senator, why don't you join us, please? Senator Harris is here also. Please come and join us. This is very nice. Thank you, Senator.
Ready? 3, 2, 1. One more. 3, 2, 1.
Thank you. Mr. Bora, please make sure Robin gets a copy of the picture.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Oh.
Grab this one again. Okay? Just take this. Oh, yeah, let's see that.
Ladies and gentlemen, the next item on our agenda is public participation. And I understand we have someone who's going to speak with us. And we're very happy to have with us today Senator Sabina Perez. And Senator's going to share some legislation that she's been working on. And we're honored that you joined us today, Senator. Please.
Thank you so much, Chair Guthers, and thank you to the board members and especially Superintendent Wampat. So I would like to present to you the amended version of Bill 126-38. So we had a public hearing last week on Tuesday. We got good feedback. And so we incorporated the recommendations by Guam Department of Education. So what you see there is a proposed amended bill, and we would like to have you just review that and see if that's up to par. So basically, what this bill does, so currently in law, there is basically designated 20% of use taxes is supposed to go to customs and quarantine. Another 20% goes to Department of Public Works. Another 20% goes to Guam EPA. And so that left 40% unspoken for. And so at the time I wrote this bill was about a year ago, and that's at the time when Head Start was at risk, right, of losing their funding. And so I thought, okay, maybe I can do a bill to address that issue. And so a lot has happened since that time. And of course, the feedback that we got was that, we don't want to violate that rule of supplement versus supplant, right? And so we definitely heard that message, and I heard that message and wanted to make the proper changes per DOE's recommendations. And so 20% of use tax currently, right now, it's performing at 6.8 million. That would mean about 1.3 million for the 20%. According to the public auditor, their estimates of use tax is underperforming, and he estimates it to be at 60 million, at least $60 million. And my thinking is that with automation coming on the horizon, there's a chance for the increase in use tax collection. So use tax is collected at the port before it's released, the goods are released. But at the airport, we cannot stop commerce. So the use tax is paid by an honor system mostly, right? So when you get your product from the airport or through mail, there's a use tax assessed, and that has to be voluntarily paid, right? And so with automation, that can help possibly keep track of what's coming in and ensure that that use tax is paid. So we don't know if it's going to be $60 million. It could be less, it could be more, but definitely more than the 6.8 million that we're currently collecting. And so, my think is that, it's not gonna reach the GDOE needs as far as facilities, because I know you need 100 million for facilities, potentially even more, but at least it's going to help with that, help with the maintenance, because as you know, the budgets don't cover capital improvement projects. It's simply operations. And so we need a dedicated funding for capital improvement projects, for maintenance, preventing deferred maintenance, right? We want to make sure we're on top of that. And so that's what this bill does. It prioritizes maintenance, but it also adds for maintenance of effort for SPED programs, for Head Start. It also includes ADA compliance, because that's something that needs to be addressed by DOE. And so we definitely took DOE's comments and incorporated in this bill. And so, definitely would like your support on this matter. If I can put it out there, resolution of support, that'd be great, to include it in the committee report for this bill. Also, I've included in passed out is DOE's comment, so you can cross-check it, their testimony. Also, I've actually passed out resolutions. So Resolution 126 is different from Bill 126, and there's a Resolution 127. So I'm not going to talk about it today, but just to give you time to look it over. And I can definitely, I'm open to providing some sort of presentation at the next meeting if you would like to talk about the evidence or scientific evidence behind it.
Thank you, Senator. I'd like to ask first our superintendent to make a few comments. I understand you attended a hearing, you made some suggestions already. But please share with us, how do you feel these bills will help our school system?
Thank you. I would like to report that in the conversation that we had with the senator, and one of the very first things we were concerned about is supplanting any of the programs that we currently have. And we do not want to lose any federal dollars in particular. Like, for example, we have federal dollars paying for pre-GEB and Head Start. And so we didn't want the early childhood program, and we did indicate to her that should she use the language aligning it to Head Start makes it far more restrictive for us to be able to continue the program and not be able to have access to federal dollars. The second thing is that in terms, another senator that asked this question, because it is just a 20%, and where would the monies really be most beneficial to us? And because we don't get, as the senator indicated, separate funding for CIP, that we feel that majority of it should be for capital improvement, and then the programs allow us then to be able to access federal funds to be able to continue with the program. What we do not want, however, is the, so to speak, a competition between universal pre-K, GEB, pre-K, and Head Start. So, and then lastly, of course, is that whatever the percentage that they should decide, whether it's 80-20, that if 80 is going to go to CIP and the 20% of that, could it then go towards maintenance of effort? Because usually the federal government requires us that when we use federal dollars, we need to show that we are doing our part, and that is called a maintenance of effort. And the senator was very willing, and she did say she's one of those senators who will definitely not introduce a bill in which then we would supplant any of our programs. And I thank you very much for that.
Thank you, Superintendent. Any other comments? I'd like to say, first of all, when I first heard about the bills, the first bill, I was very excited, because I saw that, frankly, as one of the first manifestations from the legislature to help the school system at this time financially, right? Beyond our normal appropriations. And I just felt a sign there that when we work together, we can accomplish so much. And I also want to thank the senator for willingly accepting the input from our superintendent. We like to work closely with all the senators on legislation that impacts our school system, so we can make sure it will work the way the senators would like it to work in the best interest of the school system. So So we especially appreciate your willingness to take the input. And of course, other members of the school board, if you have any suggestions to assist the senator with these two initiatives, please be prepared to do that and make your suggestions in writing. And then we'll make sure that you have those inputs from the board members. But we thank you for coming today also. And we look forward to working with you on future legislation also.
Judy's Masi, thank you so much
Thank you,
for listening.
Senator. Thank
Judy, I
you.
have something to say.
Yes, Mary.
You know, Senator, in all due respect, as a board member that has been here for many years, that the legislature, please pass this on to all your colleagues. Before they draft a bill, to please work with DOE and the board. Because as when bills are introduced, and we have no input from the beginning or draft, it really puts us in a position, because some of you don't really know what's going on at the Department of Education other than the negative public comments out there. So I suggest that before you draft a bill, work with the superintendent or the board. There's a policy committee on the board, there's a legislative committee on the board, so that they don't have to go, the superintendent don't have to go down there, and during that hearing, that's when they offer the amendment, right? Because it doesn't make, for me looking in, when I watch every day, it doesn't make, I look at it as that you guys did your homework. And I'm just being very honest about it, because this has happened many times that they introduce a bill. There's a bill right now that's being introduced, and there's a law on retention, bonus and retention. There is an existing law. So somebody didn't do their homework, okay? And we are put in a position, especially if it's mandated, or if it has to do with also, into federal funding. So I just ask you guys that please, Dr. Wombat and her 4 team and the board can put an input, because I know that this has been expressed last time, and I know our former chair here, that we don't know this bill until we get a day of a hearing. So we want to work with you guys, but we're all elected. We're the same as you guys. You're elected. You make the law, we make the policy, but we need to work together. And that's, because I've been on the board, and we're just giving a bill, and then it's gonna impact the department, especially with federal funding. So I appreciate that you came to this board now, but at least if you sponsor a bill, before you sponsor a bill, reach out to the superintendent. She was a former senator, so she knows how the bill should be prepared. Because we all want to work with you. We're not enemies, but when you guys put us in a spot, I really don't like that, because we are elected. We're all even. We're elected. But we want to just work with you, because that's what it is, not the board. And I'm sure, my other colleagues, they feel the same. Just work with us and also with the superintendent. Thank you.
If I can just add, I did work with the superintendent when this was introduced, and he supported it. So times have changed, and now this has come to light. So as we know, bills can be amended, and so I did work with the superintendent. Thank you.
And we thank you for that very much. Thank you, Senator.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
Just before the senator leaves, I just wanted to comment.
Angel, I'm sorry.
With all due respect to, what do they call Senator Tina? Ranking member? Because she's the longest. Well, I can call Ms. Gutierrez ranking member of the Guam Education Board. But thank you for introducing this bill, Senator. And really, I understand what Member Gutierrez is saying. No bill is perfect. That's why they have a public hearing, and that's why they have discussion on the floor before it's even passed. There's amendments to it, and I'm sure there's going to be amendments to this bill and amendments to 127 as well. But the fact that it's been introduced has people thinking of how to best assist our schools. And the superintendent has already put her input there. I'm sure the other members will. My only thing that I'm gonna ask is when it's appropriated to the Guam Department of Education, where in the Department of Education is it going to go to? Because if it just goes to GDOE, the same thing like when things get appropriated to the general fund, we never know who's gonna get it until it's allocated out. And so maybe there may be a specific language. I know it says maintenance and others, but if we can make it more specific as to what division or what entity this money is going to go to, maybe they have a better chance of being able to spend it the way you intend it to be. That's my comment.
Yeah, thank you for that. If I can provide some comment, if that's okay. So, yeah, in the budget bill, that's the opportunity for the Guam Education Board to actually itemize it. So, this specifically just appropriates money to DOE. I think where you want to specify it is it within the budget bill itself. Yeah, I think that's the proper place for it. So as you can see, the amended bill that's before you, it says prioritize capital improvement projects and maintenance. So that is where the priority is going to be, but it also adds other components to it. And I think really, if as years go by, it's important to be flexible, right? When you're creating the budget to see where it's needed most. And so this bill just opens the door for the funding. How you want to allocate it, I think that's really up to the budget process that DOE is going through. So that's my thoughts.
The only thing is our FY27 budget has already been submitted.
Correct.
And so this takes effect if it's passed on the
It's
beginning of
actually
the fiscal
effective
year,
date is after the budget. So
October 1st.
yeah, we can't make it effective as we have already appropriated the monies for this fiscal year. So it would fall, it would be effective the following budget cycle. So that's kind of how it was. I mean, originally it was October 2025 because it was introduced in February 2025. And so we had to move the date further down the road because now we're in 2026.
So even though if it's passed, it'll be effective October 1st, 2026, but they may not be able to see the money until
Correct, until the
2027.
next budget cycle, yeah. Yeah, we don't want to interfere with the current existing budget at this point. Yeah.
Thank you. Unless an amendment is made that any funding that could be recognized from this.
So maybe that's where the amendment could be. I mean, this is the proposed amended bill. If you have ideas on, if you want to see that funding sooner, like within sooner than I'm open to
Just a thought.
seeing.
Thank
As
you.
a board, maybe you want to discuss that and figure out a plan for that. So I'm open to hearing amendments as well.
So Senator, may I say that if, of course, you finish with the markup, then you've amended, then this bill, do you know whether it would be on the docket for the next session?
So that's a very good question. So I'm not in the majority party, so I have to submit this committee report to the appropriations chairman, Chairman Duenas. And so it depends upon where he's going to.
So what I'm saying then is that should it then go before and you're able on your next session and it is voted and for assignment to law, then the only thing I will ask you to do is, because usually what they do with the budget is that it is a lump sum, and they basically would leave it to the department to decide how they want to, earmark certain dollar amounts for certain, object categories. As similar to the language where normally you have the Department of Education, there are different sections from different funding source. So you can almost take your language here and make it part of the budget law. And then it will be very specific then to capital improvement projects and or whatever the percentage is for the other program.
I appreciate that. That's a
Thank
good
you.
comment.
Thank you.
Since it's Mossy again.
Thank you, Senator.
Thank you.
Come back again in the future. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, the next item on our agenda is our consent calendar. Oh, sorry, please forget. Next item on our agenda is our consent calendar from our January 27th, 2026 meeting and our February 12th, 2026 meeting. Do I hear a motion to accept the meeting? I'm sorry?
Motion to approve.
Yeah,
Second.
please, may I?
Second.
Got a motion? Thank you. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second, thank you, Dr. Kata. Ladies and gentlemen, on the motion, all in favor, please say aye. Motion passes, thank you. And for February 12th as well, do I need a separate motion, please? We have a motion from a board member. We have a second somewhere? Dr. Okada, we have a second. And so let's vote on the motion. Discussion? Oh, there's a correction from Ms. Gutierrez, yes.
Page 6, page 7 of 8. 7 of 8 on February 12th meeting.
Please use the microphone, Ms. Gutierrez.
Page 7.
Page 7 of 8, line 272. There's a correction here. Mrs. Gutierrez expressed concern that the board approved the decision instead of before, it should be during Superintendent John Fernandez's term, and later reviewed and concurred by Acting Superintendent Francis Santos. So instead of before, it should be during John Fernandez's term. Thank you.
There's a clarification on the word. We have that. Thank you very much. We will make that correction. On the motion to approve February 12th, 2026 special meeting minutes. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. We'll now move over to communications. Do we have any communications? Any communications? No communications today. So let's look at ex-official member reports. Islandwide Board of Governing Students, any report? Not today. Guam Federation of Teachers, please. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll just refer to the HR report in the packet of vacancies that is continuing, and I believe the superintendent is working on it as quickly as possible after our meeting that we had this past month. Thank you. That's it.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Next item, Mayor's Council. Any questions or reports?
Buenas and half a day. Thank you. First of all, Superintendent Jesus Masi. In the last meeting that I attended, I brought up to the board in regards to existing abandoned structures that are existing in the communities that the mayors would like to utilize. Most specifically, the old JP Torres Success Academy that exists in Santa Rita, Sumay. And so I was referred to board policy 620, right? If I'm not mistaken. But upon reading this policy, there's nothing in this policy that explains an abandoned facility that is eyed by the community, most specifically a mayor's office, and that would like to be used for the community. So I would like to get a little bit more information regarding that, Super. I know that the former superintendent did have a meeting with Mayor Dale Alvarez Jr. in regards to that. And then that's one. And the second thing is in regards to grass cutting in the schools. I know that I've requested to have a meeting with you, but upon our discussion in our last Mayor's Council meeting, President Alec and all the members of the Mayor's Council would like to ask if we can schedule a meeting with you, just specifically with the mayors, so we can discuss further our plan of action to move forward in assistance.
Superintendent?
Yes, for the very first one on board policy 620, yes, I took to heart exactly your request, and I've set up actually a task force for us to look at facilities that were either decommissioned, facilities, like you said, in particular JP Torres. We also know what happened to FQ Sanchez. And then also the task force has actually submitted a report that they had conducted last term with the superintendent on looking at other schools also possibly for decommission. On the subject of grass cutting, I did receive your letter and we were following it up with the AG, and that was what was taking so long to be able to get the contract out. So since then, the contract has been out already. So unless you're hearing something else not happening, it's important to please let us know, and we would have our guys from F&M check. And I did speak to Mayor Alec about setting up a time for me to come and meet with the mayors.
Thank you.
Si Diyos Masi.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes. Yes.
If I could just add to that, if we could explore, I've been approached by someone from the Guam Football Association, as well as just passing interest from one of the members of the Mayor's Council, I forget which one, but there's an interest to refurbish or to build out like football, the indoor football, I guess, facility, or to use some of the abandoned or other facilities not being used by DOE to upgrade it and build it out to offer for the community under the auspices of the mayor. And so if that's something either through the mayor's office in the various villages, or if a nonprofit can take it over and be able to refurbish it, it would be a big help to each of those communities. And so if we could explore that as well.
Thank you very much.
I'll add that on.
Dr. Wampat, can you also ensure that the task force is in receipt of the legislation that identifies what the department can do with the decommissioned facilities? Because there is legislation that says how those facilities are to be utilized. So we just need to make sure that even though the task force is meeting, they're looking at the board policy, which has not been updated based on the current law. And we need to make sure that before any information has gone out, that legal counsel has had a chance to review it so that we're sure that the information is correct and most recent.
Just to let you know is that we have filled the positions that was recommended by the law already, who are the members of the board that we selected to sit in that commission. The only thing that we still don't have is an SOW to be able to go out and do a request for, an RFP to have somebody do the appraisal for the schools. Yes, so that's the only thing that we're working on right now. But the committee has been set up. The task force, of course, are looking at the various things that I've mentioned earlier. So they are on track.
Yes, Angel.
Just to add on to the superintendent's anyway, just to add on to the superintendent's words, I believe the law also specifies the 3 members of the board. And I know that we've already appointed 3 members of the board to be on that committee. And I believe Member Gutierrez, Chair Guthertz, and Mr. Ada are members. So if you would, whenever you're going to initiate meetings, there's quite a few things. I mean, and Ms. G. Because it's not just decommission. I believe it's also the facilities that we have that are not decommissioned but are not being utilized at the present time.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. I think the important thing also to remember is that we're obligated to follow this new law in whatever decision is made with respect to the facilities. All right, very good. Let's continue on. We're now over at unfinished business. And we're gonna have our superintendent's report, which will cover the JFK High School, Simon Sanchez High School double session status report, the FEMA project status report, the FBLG renovation status report, the mold mitigation fencing status report, the dashboard status report, and the CCSSO legislative conference in Washington in March of this month, this coming month. And then we'll, after that, we'll get to the executive committee. But first, let's start with the superintendent's report.
So the school principals for the 4 schools that are in double session are currently meeting with their team, and they, each of them, both the FB Guerrero and Simon Sanchez, actually came up with 3 different options. And the most important thing that we asked them to do, the most important thing is to make sure that it is least disruptive solution for our school children, for the staff and their families. And in evaluating those options, we asked them to look at several things: the feasibility of implementation, the availability of resources, which is to make sure we have collateral equipment, and in particular, we're talking about FB Leon Guerrero, because all of the furniture that they took out were ruined. And then some equipment as well for Simon Sanchez. What classrooms that are available in our existing schools, what funding sources are available, and then lastly, the transportation and busing logistics. So all those, the committees are looking at. They're very close. I'm not saying what it is, because the most important thing that we say we want them to do is to have stakeholder buy-in. So we want them to go back to their teachers, their staff, the children themselves, and the families, so that then they, to relate to them what is it that they're recommending. We would like, and they know that by either the end of March or the first week of April, we would like to make the announcement of that, so that then we can mobilize everyone. And also facilities and maintenance would need to know what they need to do in any of these classrooms that maybe were not being used and now will be used. So they're definitely critical in making this come to a reality. The FEMA project, there is a status report
Dr.
that
Wampat?
was.
Dr. Wampat?
Yes.
Can we just ask a question regarding the double session?
Okay, yes.
So because we have a representative for parents on the board, if the parent representative, Mr. Carl Torres II, can participate in those discussions so he can hear the concerns from the parents, that
Yes,
would be
we
appropriate.
spoke earlier about it, and did say that we would like to have him be a part of it as well. Okay. So on the FEMA typhoon report, I didn't want to go through the whole thing, but if you look at your copy, basically what you would see is that all those that are in blue highlights, that those then are the updates that we are able to get from FEMA. This copy we're able to get from the governor's office staff, from the Guam Recovery Office, letting us know which ones, how this is broken down by the schools and if they're obligated. One is that what will be the best estimate costs for that particular work to be done, what the federal cost will be, and what the government DOE's cost and its reimbursement. So it's 90%. And then it gave anticipation dates as well for all of these projects at our schools.
Just a quick question.
Yes.
Madam Superintendent, on the 5th one, 730363 for GDOE EPM OT, it shows completion date November 2023. Is that a typo, or is that now complete? Because it process as obligated, not complete.
I'm sorry, no, I don't have that.
Yeah,
And
fifth one is-
Dr. Julie. I will ask Dr. Julie
Okay.
about that. Definitely. The other thing too that I know that the board has set its spend plan. And so when the time comes for some of these projects, when we hear from the recovery office as to when then now are we going to identify a specific funding source, that's something that I need to approach then the board to make an amendment then to the spend plan for this. I have spoken to Senator Borja about the lapses from the other fiscal years, not talking about the 51 million because that hasn't been yet approved specifically for us to start to draw down. So the only lapses we're looking at are the ones for fiscal year 24 and 25, part of that. So once we get that, and he basically said that he would have to amend the law, and we're looking, and he's predicting that maybe by April, hopefully, when they go into session, that they'll be able to make that, he'll be able to make that amendment to amend it from just sports facilities to allow us to use it now for capital improvement projects. So I can go on to FB renovation. Oh, sorry.
Madam Chair, just a few questions for the superintendent. FB, what is the completion date?
Okay, so you're right. So FB, the renovation, we've run into several problems with this. Apparently, when the renovation started with FB was strictly for the classrooms, it wasn't for the gym. And then when we had the storm made matters worse because the gym actually was still usable. But since Mawar, there's more damage to the gym, and we were not sure about the structural integrity of the building. And I've reached out to everyone, basically at DPW, the university, the engineering program, other private engineers, to find if there is a structural engineer on island that we could bring in to assess the gym. And honestly, I'll tell you, I've run it against a roadblock, and they said they don't know, they don't have any at DPW, they don't have any at GEW, I mean UOG. And I even contacted an engineer, and he said that he doesn't know of one at all either. Now, I don't have the actual document, but somebody brought it today from the Northern Construction Company actually submitting a proposal, which we just saw today, and we have not decided yet what to do because it would mean a modification again on the contract, inclusive of, he said that they'll do the gym, but then is asking for like half of that total amount of 4 million, half of that to be for tax credits. And I have no control of tax credits. That's at the legislature. So that's something I just cannot negotiate with Northern. And if it involves, of course, a modification, then that I feel should go out again with another RFP. So we just didn't touch that at all. But in terms of the facility itself, the school, this is what basically is needed, you know, and are pending again, will be the collateral equipment for FB at 3.4 million, the fire suppressant system at 2.9 million, cafeteria equipment, which, you know, we could almost kind of hold back a little, but we still have to put it there because it's a satellite school, satellite cafeteria, internet infrastructure. So I'm trying to work with one of the governor's office staff, because if they're able to do the broadband in the area, then definitely would help us with the internet infrastructure. And then the last, of course, is the gymnasium repair and renovation. But all of these would have to be new RFPs put out. I can't just go and do modification without an RFP.
Madam Chair, our superintendent. During our finance meeting, committee meeting, and here Dr. Okada and I guess Ms. Biletto, I don't know if Dr. Judy was there. When they gave us FB number, it just started with the classroom that was damaged, right? Then they came in a change of order number 1. Following finance meeting, there's a change of order number 2. There's then a change of order number 3. And then this is where I brought it up. It's like, why is there so many change of order? They should, what happened to the original? That's where the building, all the stuff fell down. So somebody in the former team here was negotiating the change of order to be added in to the first contract. So, and then they reported about the gym. I said, the gym was never included. And we can call Mr. Francis Santos because he was there. He was never included. And that's why I questioned. And here's Dr. Parra, we questioned that. You cannot. And then I guess this, after the work session, they stopped by legal and somebody said, no, it has to be beat out. You have to send out an RFP. So that was the problem. Because I questioned, this is only change of order number 3. Or this is for the cafeteria equipment and for the internet. So what's change of order number 2? So that is the problem. I just want to share that.
I definitely hear you, and that's exactly the position we're taking. And a lot of this, I'll tell you, is that in our meetings, when this comes, anything like this that comes before us, is that we always bring in legal counsel and our chief financial, auditor, and then the business office, and even the procurement office. Because granted, we weren't here when the contract was written, and just most recently, we have to bring out basically all the contracts that are about this thick, and we have to go through them ourselves to read the contract to see what we can do or cannot do. So, and that's what we're finding, and that's the reason why we needed always the advice and guidance by our auditor and our legal counsel.
Yes.
Dr. Wampat, is the gym repair included in the obligated FEMA project listed on here? Is it included in 730752? It's on page 2, yeah. Is it included in the $2.3 million that you already have a notice of award?
No, that's just for the buildings, the classrooms.
Okay, so if the gym truly was damaged because of Typhoon Mawar, it should be here, and you shouldn't have a funding issue except for the 10%. But somebody probably didn't do it, if that's the true cause of it. But then going back to Mr. Sablan's question, okay, given all of this, what is the timeline that we're looking at?
Yes, that's a very good question.
Your guess is as good as mine, would probably be the answer. I don't think you'll be at the end of the school year, and I don't think you'll be at the start of the new school year. So we've got to be very honest with the students, the parents. Mr. Torres has to relate to them that we're talking about double session for FB. And we're also talking about using that facility for Simon Sanchez. So both of those schools are going to be affected by the completion, whenever that's going to be, of FB Young Guerrero. And especially now, even if it was completed, where they're going to sit on, what desk are they going to use? It's not even been ordered yet, much less funded, I don't think. But an additional gym, we'd love to have it for, but it's not FEMA funded, and so it has to be locally appropriated. That's going to take, again, a very long time before that's even done. So just for transparency, we just might as well let the public know it's not going to happen this school year, and it's not likely to happen at the beginning in the next school year, which is August. I just don't see it as a viable option.
Well, and that's why I stated earlier that the group, the principals that are working in this have 3 options. And you're right, one of them could very well be just that. But there are still other options that they're looking and working at, so. Madam Chair. But the goal is, yes, is to get the children out of double session and to go full-time in the next school year.
Madam Superintendent, so I hear a change order, a change order, and a change order, which is a concern, and I'm glad that you're bringing in legal counsel and the internal auditors and everyone, because as we all know, you cannot spend money, government money, without having the proper funding to support it. So if we went out to bid for a project and the project was awarded, so I just want to raise that as we go forward, because, you know, understanding that you weren't around during this time, we just need to be very careful that as we go forward, which could cause even more delays if it's, you know, a missed questionable change order approval. So just want to raise that for the board's attention. It's something that we need to be aware of, and I'm glad that you're looking to always include legal counsel as well as the other department heads to see if we can navigate through this and fix any problems.
Thank you.
And just, she was listing down the amounts, 3.4 for collateral, 2.9 for something else, and for the internet, that's close to $10 million. Do we have even half of that anywhere, somewhere, somebody's pocket? I don't know.
Mr. Sablon, based on our budget meeting, they redirected money from personnel to cover these two components that are not part of the spending plan. So we have asked the superintendent to resubmit the spending plan to reflect what they did, because they apparently have funded the 3.4 for collateral and the 2.9 for the fire suppression system using salaries. And we know when we passed the budget that we covered warm bodies. So we've asked the superintendent to correct it so that it shows specifically where that money came from. So she's cleaning it up.
So there's no account numbers to do this.
There's no account numbers to do it, but they've apparently identified some lapsed funding before December to fund these two components that are highlighted in our budget. And we just discovered that when we had our last budget meeting.
Were those change orders signed?
No, these are not change orders.
No, for the collateral equipment?
No, these are new RFPs that